Hi friends and fam, you are watching part 2 of my 2.5-week trip to Japan. In the last episode, we explored Japan's top cities, from the street food and city life in Tokyo to Kyoto's temples and gardens. In part 2, we will be staying in Kyoto at a traditional ryokan for 2 nights, renting traditional clothing, then driving out to Osaka's Aquarium, and finally spending our last few days in Kyoto. As always, all locations will be linked in the description for easy reference. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help my channel grow, and I hope you enjoy. On day 2 in Kyoto, we decided to rent out traditional yukatas and kimonos before exploring the rest of the mesmerizing city. I highly recommend this experience because not only are you able to choose your cute pattern outfit, but they had a book of hairstyles you could try out and let you rent out a cute little bag for all of your belongings. I ended up renting out a summer yukata, which was more of a lightweight material to help me stay cool in the summer, while my sister ended up renting out a kimono, which had more layers, more elegant style, and a bow in the back, as well as socks with the traditional geta sandals. Once my sister and I got our outfits, we headed to Kyoto Kiyomizu to get a matcha caramel affogato latte, as I was going to get my fill of matcha desserts while I was in Japan. This ice cream spot was so good, I already miss it. Up next, we headed up to Kiyomizu Temple, which was a little crowded, so I recommend showing up early if you're trying to get solo pictures. Regardless though, it was still really nice to walk through the city streets and stop by the quaint shops along the way. It wasn't long until we came across another matcha dessert spot called Kyo-Baum Kiyomizu. Here I am with my cute purse that I had just purchased. And of course, I had to try their soft-served matcha ice cream with cake bites at the bottom. I honestly miss Japan desserts so much. After getting though our second sweet tooth fix, we headed to Kodai-ji temple to admire the architecture and beautiful Zen gardens. Quick tip, if you decide on renting traditional clothing, just be mindful that you'll be walking around a lot in the geta sandals, which are made out of wood, and may get small blisters like I did if you don't go with the traditional kimono outfit, which comes with socks. What I liked the most about this temple was that it was right by the beautiful bamboo forest, so if you're a nature geek like me, I highly recommend exploring this area where you can take pretty pictures. By the time we finished exploring the temple, we were all really hungry, so we found this hidden spot called Unagi Midori, where we ended up enjoying a delicious eel and rice meal that also came with this cute little soup on the side. As we headed back down to our traditional ryokan, we ran into this new dessert spot called Mochi Mochi, where they actually make the dessert for you and include ripe strawberry in the center. At the end of our day exploring Kyoto, we headed back to our ryokan to drop off some of our souvenirs, like this keiki delivery service cat plushie that I didn't know I needed, before returning our outfits and heading to the onsen, or sento, for a bath. This was one of my favorite experiences, to be honest, because imagine walking around all day in the summer heat with wooden sandals and then being able to soak away your exhaustion from the day. It was literally the most blissful experience ever. At this specific ryokan, we were able to book the bathing area for about an hour at a time and bring our own skincare as well as hair products. The next morning, we had our final traditional breakfast, then headed over to Universal Studios in Osaka. As mentioned in my previous video, I'm usually not the biggest fan of amusement parks because of the crowds. However, I'm all about trying new experiences, so of course I had to join my siblings for this adventure at Universal's. Overall, it was actually kind of fun, and my favorite worlds were Harry Potter's and Nintendo World. Here are some clips of just some of the sightseeing we did, as well as some of the foods we got to try. If I were to go back to Universal Osaka, it would probably be more for this melon slushy, which I still daydream about because it was that good. I'm actually kind of sad that I'm not able to find something like this in the US. And then onto Nintendo World. This minecart ride was actually worth the wait, and I 10 out of 10 recommend riding. The following day, we drove out to Osaka and came across Asakusachaya Tabanenoshi, where I found the most amazing crepes I've ever had in my entire life. If you have a sweet tooth, I'm just gonna say you must find this place. There was this kakegawa matcha tiramisu that had vanilla ice cream under the fluffy tiramisu layer and strawberry jam at the end of the cone. As a foodie, this place was 10 out of 10, and I need to go back ASAP to try their creme brulee. Finally, we made it to the Grand Osaka Aquarium, where we saw all sorts of wildlife, such as these shockingly enormous fish. There was some cute penguins, playful dolphins, and a plethora of other colorful fish and sea creatures. I think overall the dolphins were my favorite just because they were being very playful and cute, and just like hopping on rocks and hopping off, as well as just doing little like spirals and stuff. We also saw some squid, as well as Dory and Nemo. I also thought the jellyfish were very pretty and just relaxing to watch as they floated around. Don't judge us, but at the end of our aquarium trip, we decided to get some sushi before heading back to our hotel in Osaka. The following day, we pretty much just got to explore Dotonbori, which is known for their famous shopping centers and local food spots. We also visited Osaka Castle Park, where I was able to try a delicious waffle cheese coin. Overall, this castle was gorgeous, especially at sunset. So if you are looking for architecture to take photos with, I definitely recommend this castle that was also surrounded by a beautiful and soothing park. Here I am with my sister, enjoying the view and resting after all the walking we did. Finally, on our last day in Osaka, I was excited to finally have a full day of shopping where I discovered two of my new favorite brands, Volcan and Aphrodite for my goth, edgy endeavors, and Liz Lisa for when I'm in the mood for super extra, girly, kawaii dresses. I hardcore fell head over heels for both of these brands. I'm literally manifesting a closet full of their outfits. We also came across a Kirby Cafe and Miffy Cafe, where I got to try the Miffy Jasmine Milk Tea, which came with cute little fondue flowers and a Miffy shortbread cookie on top. This was honestly so refreshing, and it wasn't even that crazy sweet. By the time we finished shopping, it was pretty much dinner time, so we made our way to a local Devi Indian restaurant for our last meal in Osaka, where we enjoyed some delicious butter chicken and garlic naan bread. The size of this naan bread was definitely sharing size, though I promise you I attempted to eat it all because it was just that good. Look at how delicious this food looked. Honestly, food at Japan was just on another level compared to US food. The next day, we were basically back in Kyoto for our last days here in Japan, and this time we stayed in a less traditional, more city-like area. We ended up booking a more spacious hotel room. This was the view from our hotel room of Kyoto, and once again, this was more like the city area versus the traditional ryokan we had originally stayed at. And this was our bathroom, which was also a lot more spacious compared to our first hotel stays. And after unpacking our luggage, we basically walked over to Nana's green tea at Aeon Mall, where I ordered a matcha parfait as we waited to meet up with my boyfriend, and then got some lunch at Senya Gyutan Fukusuke before heading out to Arashiyama Monkey Park. This was my first time ever experiencing a park where monkeys were just hanging out. So quick note, if you do end up going, just expect this to be a little bit of a hike to get up to the top, which has a nice view, but be prepared and bring enough water because Japan is very humid and you don't want to bring any food, which was also a rule that was posted everywhere because apparently the monkeys could potentially attack you for your snacks. So just be mindful. There was an enclosed room where they sold bags of peanuts and dried fruit, so you could safely feed the monkeys if you really wanted to. I also thought it was kind of funny how the monkeys were actually not the biggest fans of the peanuts, but preferred for the dry fruit. So quick tip, if you want them to approach you and actually eat the food, maybe try getting more of the dried fruit. Overall, this park was really cute, and I really liked seeing the baby monkeys with the moms. I think that was the cutest, just seeing them hang around and climb things. After sightseeing the monkeys, we explored Arashiyama's bamboo forest, which led us to some serene garden landscapes, and Tenryuji Temple, known for their gorgeous koi fish pond, surrounded by a Zen garden masterpiece and beautiful mountains. Later that evening, we wanted to explore a little more of the nightlife, so we ended up grabbing a night drink at this quaint liquor museum that offered some homemade chocolate and whiskey, and then ended up our night at the intimate, dark and cozy Kyoto Star Bar. It was kind of raining that night, so we pretty much had the bars all to ourselves. But either way, it was just a really nice experience to go out and explore the local bars. For our final day in Kyoto, we made our way to the famous Nara Park, known for their free-roaming deer population, who return your bow in exchange for deer crackers. Quick warning, if you buy a stack of these deer crackers, I highly recommend taking out one at a time to avoid being swarmed by the deer, as some of them would get a little aggressive and nip at your clothes for more crackers. To end our night, we grabbed some Korean barbecue food and a caramel cream uji matcha latte from Amofu Cafe. And this pretty much wraps up my 2.5-week stay in Japan. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey exploring Japan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help my channel grow, and I'll see you on my next travel vlog.